I just wanted to ask you guys.
What's up, Zane?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good,
Pretty
buddy.
good.
We are the only moving CRM that has been built by movers for movers. Accidentally broke clients one piece of furniture, agreed to buy a replacement. We walked through everything with her and it was okay. Now she says we broke a lot more. There are some states that are unregulated. I think Wisconsin's one of them. Unregulated.
Take pictures of everything.
Yeah,
It's
so-
just safer that way.
So how would you guys kind of alter strategy?
Was just maintaining the customer service that we had even when we were slow.
Focus on getting a couple of apartment complexes and a couple of assisted living places.
Hey guys, Jason Bergenskes here with MoveitPro, and I'm the CEO also of Lion's Den Booking Service. Today I got Michael with me. Sorry we're running a couple minutes late. We always have fun doing live streams. One day we're going to get this right and be on time, but no, it's always something we're obviously posting these out to tons of different channels. And so anyway. So yeah, so thanks, Michael, for being here. Obviously, we've had some busy days recently.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Awesome. So, obviously this is our live stream. So kind of our goal, normally what we do is we have people on these because we like to answer questions and help people in the moving industry. And obviously it's been a rough economy for a lot of moving companies. We definitely felt it. We've obviously done very well through it and gotten through it. But, one of the things I think is interesting because Michael was set to do this live stream already. And it just so happens he is the call center manager for our Lion's Den booking service, which is what we calls for tons and tons of moving companies. We're their sales team. And it just so happens that 2 days ago, one of our competitors unfortunately went out of business and pretty much gave no one notice. And our phones have been absolutely ringing off the hook because there's not a lot of solutions out there like us or like them. The company was OnCue. But I think we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then also we're just going to talk about Lion's Den and what we see is going on with the housing market, with the economy. And all that stuff. So anyways, so I think we do have some people that are going to be calling in. Phone number is 321-832-8225. You're able to call in. We'd love to hear from you. If you were a customer of OnCue and you were one of those people that had to deal with them being shut down, definitely give us a call. I've had a bunch of employees that worked for OnCue reach out to me. And it's a sad deal all the way around. And our goal is to be a light at the end of the tunnel for some people, help them through whatever hardship they're going through, and survive it. So anyways, if we can go ahead and get, if you guys could get pulled up questions that have come in, people, stuff that people have asked, and then we'll kind of start there, and then if we get some calls, we'll handle those as they come in. And go from there.
Sounds good.
So just for those of you watching that don't necessarily know the situation that happened with OnCue, apparently today's Wednesday. So on Monday, mid-afternoon, they held a Zoom meeting with all 35-ish of their employees and essentially said they've run out of money and they cannot get money anywhere and they are closing business in a couple hours. And they had not even told moving companies yet that rely on their service to manage their calls. And you have to remember, a lot of these moving companies are, this is their sales team. Some of these companies, they might have 10 trucks, but they don't have a sales team. They hired it out. We have companies like that have, one truck, and we have companies that have 10, 15 trucks, and we're their sales team. And OnCue gave customers a couple hour notice that their phones were getting turned off. And this is not like a couple companies. Like, this is a lot of companies. Someone had actually recorded, one of their employees had actually recorded the firing of everyone. Their CEO popped on to this call. There was 35 people in the call. Let me go back. Let me start with, I knew the CEO. We had conversations several years ago about us doing some reciprocal stuff. The way it was handled, I don't think was good, but anyway, she hops in calls an all staff meeting, 35 employees there. These are employees that are counting on this for their business or for their life, their children. The meeting was a total of 3 minutes long. She spoke for 2 minutes, of which the 2 minutes she pretty much told them they ran out of money. Today's your last day. This is confidential. Do not tell your customers yet. And we'll pay you through the end of the week, which is Friday. So 2 days of severance pay. But if you need anything, let us know. And after 2 minutes, she dips and she leaves the call. And all of the employees are sitting there in the Zoom call, just no one says anything. Like everyone literally is just staring. Someone recorded that and posted on TikTok. Last I checked, it had like 20 million views on TikTok.
With OnCue, unfortunately, it didn't work out. And as a result, we don't have a way to keep the company running. We looked at several different opportunities and options, and unfortunately, with the macroeconomic environment, we're out of alternatives. This means we have to shut down. Keep this confidential, as we will be informing customers later in the day with Arminino, who is handling this process as well. I'm truly sorry to all of you.
Which is just, it's what's hard for that is, don't get me wrong, the economy has 100% been rough for moving companies. There's no doubt about it. We've made changes here. We've had to tighten our belt. We've had to do everything that I think every moving company probably has felt, and we've had to do it. The biggest thing of why I say like it wasn't handled right was a couple things. Number one, Kate never called me. I happen to have money. I happen to have been in a situation I would have loved to purchase out their company. I would have loved to helped this situation. Obviously, we would have done well with it, but I would have loved to have the opportunity to buy them out in the sense of no customers hitting a point where their calls aren't going to get answered. Yeah. Had a transition period have been, and I may have paid several $100,000 for it, maybe more. I don't know what they were doing, but where we would have paid them out and those customers been easily able to be transferred over to our call center service where we have tons of employees and we're booking for tons of customers. We're profitable. The moving companies are profitable, and no one even had an instance where they had an outage. And then further on that, we would have obtained a bunch of their employees to help these people through the hardship that now they're going through. And you can't tell me, I run a company, and I'll tell you, this is one of the things for me of why so many employees hate corporations and why so many employees hate CEOs and hate owners, because you can't tell me, and I'm not bashing, I don't know the full situation, but I can guarantee you she knew shit was hitting the fan way in advance of the 2 hours that she gave everyone notice.
The lack of communication is big.
Yeah,
that's just.
I can't, and don't get me wrong, they ran out of money, and they were highly dependent on outside investment. I think a couple of years ago, they'd gotten a $10 million investment. I don't know their books, but based on what I'm reading, based on some of the employees that have reached out to me, their VP of sales has reached out to me. I've talked to several. At no point did they ever make money. They were losing money from the beginning, and they did a round A of funding, which was $10 million. They burnt through that, and they were dependent on hoping that they would get a round B, which makes sense. There's a lot of companies that run that way. But they knew they were going to run out of money sooner than that. And what that has done to the moving industry, we have people calling us almost crying, these moving company owners, and these are burly guys. And they're like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm booked on the truck. I get 150 phone calls a day. There's no way I can hire fast enough to get people to answer these calls. And I'm pretty much, it's potentially going to put me out of business because that happened.
You think about it. The amount of time that goes into training, even just one sales rep,
correct,
it's months usually.
Correct.
For them to be fully ready to go.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I'd be panicking too if
Yeah.
I'm in this situation.
And that's the situation. They're panicking. And I don't know how many we've signed up so far, 20, 25. I mean, it's astronomical numbers in a short period of time. And we're doing everything we can to help them. I'll tell you. So a couple things. One, OnCue, in my opinion, they were way underpriced. I'm hearing some people were paying between 5 and 8% commission. I'm going to be honest with you. I run a call center. We run a lean call center. I would be losing money if our customers only paid us 5%, even 8%. There's no money to be had there, because the way that we charge and the way that they charge is they're only making money if the move sells. So if they're doing thousands of phone calls for you, but they only book 10, they're only charging you for 10. And at 5%, man, there's no skin left on the bone. And so I think that was one of their big falls. The second big fall is they took so much outside money, they were counting on that money. And that's one of the things that I've talked about in some of my previous podcasts. With J&J Metro, my father, came into that company. My grandmother was in it. And they were big advocates for not having debt. We had debt truly on one thing, I think, the entire time that I've been alive during J&J Metro, and that was for our facility. It was our building. Right? Mm-hmm. It was our building, yeah. And when that was paid off, we never took financing on it again. Now, is that for everyone? No. I think there's 100% of time for doing financing and taking on loans and debt. Debt is not the worst thing in the world, but honestly, debt is the enemy of success if not used properly. And when you have a company that was so heavily reliant on debt, when business got slow, I mean, you can't make those payments. I mean, the payroll will eat you alive. And so that's one of the things with MoveitPro I've carried forward, that we have little to no debt. So that allows us to be able to tighten our belt better. It allows us to be able to maintain people. We've been very fortunate that we have not, even when the economy got rough, we were fortunate that we didn't lay anyone off because of it. We had some salespeople maybe that would leave because they weren't making enough in commissions or sales, but nobody across the board did we do a layoff. And I can't imagine, me as a CEO, and we've got, I don't know, total between developers, call center, everything. I mean, we're probably north of 45 employees. Me hopping on a Zoom call and firing everyone, and then not taking questions. Which I guess what are you going to answer? But dipping after 2 minutes, and then telling them that this is confidential. Do not tell. Like, you guys are the moving companies that have funded and paid for everything up until this point, and
communication's so
literally is telling the employees don't, which obviously a bunch of the employees reached out to the customers. And so that's how customers started finding out. The employees started calling their favorite customers on their cell phones and be like, hey man, I'm just letting you know, shit's going down. You're going to be getting an email soon, but you need to start looking for something. So anyways, I'm happy we're in a position to be able to really help people. Yep. We've done everything we can to onboard people as fast as possible. The thing is, in reality, it's not a 2-hour deal to turn on and you're answering calls for these people, because we got to know how to estimate them. We got to know how they price stuff. We got to know what their protocols are and all that, but we're expediting it. I think everyone on our team right now, we've authorized overtime for everyone. So that's one of the things we're trying to help combat it. Obviously, end of the day, is it good for us? Sure. It definitely helps our business. But it's not really how we like to grow our business, at the mercy of other people. So
the circumstances are unfortunate, but it's definitely, we're getting called nonstop because of it though.
Yeah. We're handling them. So anyways, so awesome. So let's kind of go through, I'm not going to make this whole thing about that. Obviously it does, has some to do with the OnCue situation. I'm happy to talk about it. I can give you my input. I'll say this, TikTok, the person did take that video down on TikTok. I luckily had downloaded it before. It's probably not something legally I would be privy to broadcasting, but I'd be happy to show anyone. And it's how not to run a company. And I'm just happy that we're not in their shoes. So anyways, why don't we go through some of the questions that came in over online so far. Again, you can call in if you got questions. Phone number is 321-832-8225. So one here we got is lead sources. What lead sources are you guys providing, or not providing? What lead sources do you guys recommend? Which ones do you work with? And what would you suggest for us during this economy?
So I get this question almost every time we sign up a new call center or they start. It's a difficult question. I try not to answer directly because really it's dependent on the market. However, obviously the most common ones are going to be your movers.com, Quote Runner, Equate Media, Billy, Angie's. However, you got some companies that are also utilizing like pay-to-click methods, which they have been actually doing very stellar in call center in general, because when you're using lead sources that are the more common ones, unfortunately, you are competing against the other companies, as opposed to where you're going the pay-to-click route. You're almost building organic traffic to yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I mean on that, so I'll tell you, and we've talked about this in a few different podcasts. We don't necessarily advocate for any of the lead providers.
Nope.
I'll be honest with you, most of the lead providers suck. So that being said, now you got to hear the second part of that. There's a lot of moving companies that do really good with some of them. And when I say they suck, here's what I mean. So some of them, and I don't know, I'm not going to mention specific names, but some of the lead providers, you purchase the lead for people that need to move, right? And so you get that lead, but at the same time you get that lead as a moving company, it's sent to 10 other moving companies in their market like that. Yep. And so as soon as that happens, that person is getting ambushed with calls immediately. And if you're not the first or the second call at a max, you're not going to talk to that customer. You're not going to service them typically. The ones that do good with lead providers, and this is the caveat to me saying that, they all suck, but some companies do really good. A lot of the companies that use our call center service do really good. And here's why, and here's how you can replicate it yourself. So when a lead comes into our system, so into MoveitPro, I assume it's the same in other software companies for the moving industry. But when a lead comes into us, it comes in the second they hit submit. So the second they hit submit, a ding goes off in our software. So when the rep's logged in, they immediately click it and they can be calling it within 5 seconds. Yep. They immediately get a text message. They immediately get an email, right? So here's the thing. If that happens with our customers, they're talking to the customer typically within 30 seconds. That quick. We have reps available. We have reps that are on standby, literally sitting there waiting for those calls to come in and waiting for those urgents to come in. They immediately call it. Now, if you're a moving company and you're out on the truck sometimes, you only got one sales girl in the office, and so if she's on the phone and one of those comes in, she's not going to get to it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. That sucks. Immediately, I'm telling you, that lead's going to get hit by 5 movers in the first 5 minutes. They're going to get hit by 10 movers in the first 10 minutes. By the time you call them and you're the 7th and 8th mover, they're now ticked off that you're calling. And so that's the big difference of the people that use a call center like ours. Or my caveat to it was that you can do it yourself. You need to hire more salespeople so that they're readily available. Our urgents don't sit. They are called immediately. And so you need to be able to replicate that in your business. Now, are you going to be able to do that cost effectively? Maybe not. And that's why, Lion's Den makes sense for a lot of companies, because we can afford to do that because we're answering calls for 100 moving companies. So for us to be able to split that burden of having people are readily available to answer and make those calls immediately as soon as they come in is not a big deal. Now, for your moving company, for you to just pay someone to sit there, be readily available for 8 hours a day just to handle the 10 urgents that come in probably doesn't make sense. So that's something there to think about, and I think is the big thing. Pay-per-click, for J&J Metro, we did pay-per-click for a while for us, we had great success for it in the very beginning when pay-per-click was inexpensive. And when I say in the very beginning, that was probably like in like the late 90s. Dude, the market now is tough.
It's expensive. I mean, now, I will say
some of them are paying, you know, 75 to 100 bucks per click. That's not per lead, per click. So again, depending on your moving company. So if you're only doing long distance moves and your average moves $5,000 to $8,000, might make sense. If your average moves 500 bucks or even $1,000 and you're spending $100 just to get that customer to go to your website, but they haven't even filled out the form. They haven't even requested an estimate yet.
Right.
That's rough. And so those are going to be, you're going to burn through money pretty quick.
Yep.
And you're probably not going to be thrilled with the results on that. You know, in my opinion, if I was going to, you know, go back and I was running a moving company and starting fresh, my biggest efforts would be on relationship building. I would be building relationships with every single, you know, assisted living facility, apartment complexes. I'd be going after realtors like you can't even believe, man. I'd be hosting events for realtors free. I'd be giving comp tickets I would be doing so much for realtors because that's the customers you want.
Yeah, because they're also like your front line, knowing who's leaving and who's going.
Correct. So that's a big one. So why don't we talk a little bit, we talked a little bit about OnCue earlier. Why don't we talk about how the transition would be from OnCue to LionSden? Obviously, we're already going through that with a ton of companies. It's my understanding they had around 80 to 100 moving companies they were answering calls from. That came explicitly from one of their employees told me last night. Factual, not sure, but it came from a reliable source, someone in upper management from their company. So obviously we've brought on a significant amount already, but what's the process looking like and how are we changing what we're doing to speed up that process? Because obviously these people are in dire need for what we have.
Absolutely. So right now, a lot of companies are scrambling to try to get their things together so that they can essentially get their calls and get their system back up and running. So right now, when you sign up for our system, the first thing we're going to do is make sure we get your, if you're going with the MoveitPro as well, we're going to get your, well, either way, MoveitPro or LionSden, we're going to get your system accurate, make sure everything's coming out correctly. You will go through trainings. Because of the situation with OnCue, we are trying to almost...
immediately, yeah.
Yeah, it's like essentially same day almost if we can. Either same day, we'll have your system up and running, and then try to get you in training within that same day or next day as well. Once you've gone through training and you're feeling comfortable at that point in time, I'd probably be reaching out after the first training even, or if not before, to go and introduce myself. That way, if any questions call center related can go ahead and be answered. Really, the first thing we do is we're going to get the system accurate and take a frequently asked questions form. So it's going to be a user manual on any and all things regarding your company. This is actually built into our MoveitPro system. So when our agents are actually doing the estimating process, it's at their hands and on their fingertips. So they just push one button and they have access to essentially the user manual for the companies. We'll do some test estimates once we got the frequently asked questions. And once everything's coming out accurately, we go through scripting if any custom scripts need to be inputted or any branding, things like that. And then pretty much good to go live. We buy a phone number and have that have your calls transferred to that phone number, which would then go to the call center, which will allow us to go ahead and estimate and book all your jobs.
Perfect. Yeah, and we do have a caller, so we'll be with you in just a minute, Jacob. So kind of just to comment on that. So I'll tell you, like normally our setup is probably within a week that we're answering calls for a company, and that's if they're on top of their stuff, because there's several things we need to know, right? Like when we talk to your customers, like we need to sound like and act like we are your company.
Correct.
So our number one goal is that, you know, we answer the phone with your obviously your moving company name. We're answering it like if you are if you want us to say something special when we answer the phone, like we're going to do it. If you want certain things said, we need to say it. We need to understand the terms and conditions of your company. We need to understand, do you move pianos? Do you move safes? Do you go upstairs for those? Do you do long distance? Do we, at what point do we need to send it back to you for you to go do a on-site? All these things, which is a lot, right? Every moving company is different. Some companies don't do any of those things. Some companies do all of those things. And we want to present you as a professional company, which is part of why we've done so well with our booking ratios. I mean, our booking ratios are typically what, 50, 60%?
Right now, yeah, we're on jobs that we estimate, so we actually speak to, we are averaging, I'd say, right around 56 to 65%, somewhere between there.
Yeah.
In the last 3 months, we've been consistently above 55%.
Yeah, which is huge. And so those are, ones we're talking to, and those, that has the mix in there of ones that are lead providers.
Yes.
Now, just so you know, typical lead provider, you're usually going to close 2 to 3%. Like on a normal basis, right? Again, because you're competing against 10 other movers. That's a typical moving company that's handling 2 to 3%. Ours is higher than that, but because we're so fast at getting to them. It's all about speed. The speed is the point. In our call center, where there's a TV, we can see if there's anyone in queue. We don't like people in queue. We're not one of those that's like, oh, we want queue to be less than 5 minutes. No, I don't want a queue. If there's someone in queue, we need to hire people. Like that's just what it is.
Yep.
But further than that is that if someone is sitting in queue for 30 seconds, only 30, I don't even want it to be 30, but if it's 30 seconds, an alarm starts going off on the TV that everyone can hear in the call center so that we are acknowledging and understanding that this is what's going on. We're very busy. And so we as management can make adjustments in what we need to do. If we need to hire more people, if we need to get more people on calls, if we need to ask if we can get some employees to come on board, work overtime, whatever the scenario is, which we handle and we do it. I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I don't know that I've heard that alarm in a bit. That TV's outside my office.
Yeah. We're actually almost, luckily with this current economy, we've managed to keep our staff fully staffed. And so because of that, we don't have alarms as much lately.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and take a caller. We got Jacob. We'll be with you in just 1 second, Jacob. I can barely hear you, but it's not enough probably to really understand you. They're trying to figure out what's going on. So if you'll just hold tight for a minute, we'll go over one of these other questions quick, if that's okay, and then we'll come right back to you.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So Michael, let's talk a little bit real quick while they try and figure that out. So pay per minute versus commission based. So I'll just start with it. So traditionally, the call centers for the moving industry have always been commission based. Yep. That's something we started with. We started doing our call center, which is right around the COVID era. And it started with, we charged a commission on jobs that we helped you book. It was a flat rate commission dependent on how much call volume you sent us. So if you sent us everything to do with your company, we would charge typically around the 12% range. If you only send us overflow or after hours, might be 15%. 15 was always the maximum, but again, sometimes could be less than that, depending on the size of your company. The more stuff you send us, the bigger company you are, obviously the less expensive we can do it for you, just based on the economics of it, that we can do it more efficiently because you're sending us more stuff, right? So about, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so, we released the option of being able to pay per minute. So this took away the commission element to it if you didn't want us booking the jobs, but you just want us talking to the customers, being more than an answering service, but not necessarily always booking the jobs. So you want to talk a little bit about the pay per minute and what you've seen, because obviously we've got a bunch of companies on that now.
Absolutely. So they both very similar when it comes out to cost. The pay per minute, the big takeaways is you're going to have a little bit more control over your bill, I think. If you need to slow it down, you can essentially just slow down the outbound calls and it's going to lower your bill. So it's easy access. A lot of companies use the pay per minute specifically if they have a sales team and they're not looking to just fully replace them just yet. Maybe if they're wanting to use overflow, because Lions Den's open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time, and Saturday, Sunday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time, and on most major holidays. So when your sales team is out on a holiday, you can always rely on Lions Den to be there to essentially keep booking your moves and taking care of your customers all the way through. So the big thing with pay per minute is you're not paying a percentage on the jobs we help book. You're essentially paying for time we actually speak to the customer. So this means that if we're dialing out, you're not being charged. It's when we actually connect to the customer and speak with them. So it's actual time estimated. we're doing the estimates and actually assisting the customers that you're getting charged for. There is if you want us to go ahead and book the move, we do charge a $50
flat fee
for the booking. There's no percentage on it.
Yeah. So if it's $1,000 move or a $20,000 move, it's a flat $50.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that is, you know, part of, and this goes back to the OnCue thing, man. Like so a lot of people watch this. Obviously you kind of know me. I run successful businesses. I believe myself as a serial entrepreneur. I own a bunch of real estate. I own, obviously, MoveitPro. I own Lion's Den. I ran J&J Metro moving company. I've been open business for 53 years, multi-million-dollar moving company. I got to incentivize my people. And just like you got to incentivize your people in your moving company, if you've got salespeople and they don't make any money, whether they book the move or not, the unfortunate thing is they're not going to push as hard as they really should to sell the move. They're not going to push what they need. And so that's our incentive of why we maintain and continue to have closers that are closing 50% of the time, because we incentivize them. We have to incentivize them. If you don't incentivize your people, you're not going to want to move forward. Same thing in your business. And you got to think about it as yourself. If you're a moving company owner, and whether you work 10 hours a week or 80 hours a week, and you make the same $1,000 a week, which one are you going to pick? You're going to do the easiest option. Everyone's the same. People are people, and we have to accommodate to that situation. So the $50 is, most of that goes to covering the payroll of those people doing the calls, and then obviously as a commission to them for booking the call. So they think they got Jacob going now. So let's go ahead and see if we can get him on. You there, Jacob? Coming. Hey, Jacob, you there? Hey, we can hear you, man. Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Hey, quick question for you. Just calling to see, listen, I get this situation and it's kind of stinks, but what do you guys think of that platform, WeMove.ai?
So I'll be honest with you, I know a lot about them. I mean, I'll be honest, and I know a lot about most of our competitors. I would assume they're newer. Michael, obviously you run the call center. You deal with all of our companies that use our service for that. Have you heard of them? Do you know anything about them?
I have not. I do know a lot of companies are popping up trying to push the AI thing and the AI agents, essentially, where you're talking to an AI robot. But no, I have not heard of WeMove as of yet. Yeah.
I mean, if you have specific things that they have and you wanted to ask us about, I'd be more than happy. I'll tell you. And I really don't know much about them. I did see your question on there. So earlier, when we couldn't hear you, I typed in to Google WeMove AI and I couldn't even find their site. Cause I just wanted to see, if what I could see on there to be able to compare. But I'll tell you this, OnCue was one that went really hard on trying to do AI stuff. If you go to their website still, I think it's, OnCue.co, I think, it's OnCue booking service. But if you go there, you'll see as of 2 months ago, man, that's a big thing they were pushing. AI. And don't get me wrong, AI is the buzz. It's what everyone wants to hear about. Mm-hmm. It's what everyone's super excited about. The reality is your customers don't want to talk to AI. And while it may be, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, we book millions and millions of dollars in moves, to be honest with you, for moving companies all throughout the United States, Canada, and Australia. And we get people on the phone, man, and we close them. And, you know, I don't know. I run a pretty good sized company. I'll tell you, we use AI for some stuff, but not for phone calls. I just don't do it. I need salespeople that are trained, that can close, that can overcome objections, and not sound like a robot. Because as soon as a customer realizes they're talking to something that's not real, they're out.
Yeah.
I'd be out.
Without that AI, you don't get that like special care where they're actually putting that extra effort in asking those questions to build rapport with the customer so that they come back to you too. So it's very just straightforward. It's going to ask you the question and get you off the phone, which AI has a purpose in certain areas, but I just don't think it's at the customer service portion as of yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's there yet. Yeah. Personal opinion. Yeah. Sounds good, buddy. I appreciate it. If you have any other questions, just let us know.
How it going?
I'm betting he works there. So, anyways, so yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We spend millions of dollars in development, and, you know, we've got some stuff in AI in our system as far as doing automated text messaging, emailing, stuff like that. But I'm telling you, I ain't going to do it for calls. I'm sorry.
Talk to a robot.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. And here's the thing. The only thing that's going to do is reduce cost for the company that's providing it. You know, if I'm, you know, the companies we're booking, you know, $1 million a year for, they have no problem paying us our commission because they're making money. And I will put any of our sales reps. So anyone listening to this, WeMove.ai, if that's what it is, you can reach out to me directly. I would love to see the closing ratio, real closing ratio of your robots. And I will put them against any of my sales reps. You can pick the worst one because there's not many. And to be honest with you, worst, I don't know if that's even a valid thing, 45% close ratio. And I guarantee you our people will close more.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
In the calls, my call center right now, if they're below 40%, it's a conversation. And that way we could correct it for the next month. And right now, even the lowest I've had was like 38, and we fixed it the next month.
Yeah.
And it's usually they just had a bad string of leads, and they'll fix it within the next month. So I don't have an issue in that. We're doing quality twice a week. We're doing role playing essentially at least twice a week. So that's the big key, is keeping the agents up trained and on task, and making sure that we're also on Cardone's Grant University.
Yeah, Cardone University. And I'll tell you, I mean, the AI definitely is something we've looked into. So we looked into a service called air.ai, which was for doing outbound calls. It had nothing to do with our call center, but we were thinking about it for our sales team. I probably spent a few $1,000s with that system. We tried to train it. We tried to do stuff. Piece of shit, to be honest with you. We did
role playing.
We did role playing. So our sales reps, every morning they role play. Every morning they go into a meeting, and for 15 to 30 minutes, they do a role play and overcome objections and, oh, the price is too much, and all these things, right? And our reps role play one-on-one in a group setting. And we said, you know, how can we do AI for that? So there's a company contacted us, and that's all this company does. They've gotten, I think, a $25 million investment into this company, and it's for doing role-playing AI. And it is the worst thing I have seen.
Yeah.
It's not realistic. It's giving very similar responses every time. It was not good. And here's the thing. I'm all about AI. Bro, I go pick up my Cybertruck on Friday. like I love Elon Musk. He's a big guy for AI. Like I'm not bashing it, but there's a time and there's a place for it.
I agree.
We use Chappie often for our marketing department. We have it help us with copywriting things if we've already written to clean it up. We use it, but there's a time and a place. Now, if I had our marketing department, hey, you guys aren't allowed to write emails anymore. I want you only sending emails from Chappie. We call it Chappie, from ChatGPT. Our email marketing would suck. It would be the same repetitive stuff over and over and over. Do I think in 10 years from now it's going to be that way? No. I think in 10 years from now, hell yeah, it's going to be amazing. I don't think it's there yet. Anyways, so let's go through, wow, there's a bunch. Training. Why don't you do that? So you touched on it a little bit. How I was with OnCue, and I constantly had problems with their reps not doing our script and not going based off of what we wanted them to do. How does Lion's Den difference from that, and what is the Q&A process to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing? Michael, I'll let you take that one.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, your scripting is completely customizable. It's something that you're going to decide when you first sign up with us. We do provide a script where it's a Cardone-based moving script, essentially, that we've created, and it works stellar, but we do suggest, put some branding in there, make it your own, just like every company. So the agents are held to, like I said, 40% close rate on a monthly basis. So every morning I'm pulling stats and looking at their close rate. So the minute they go below 40, they're getting communicated. Team leads will immediately pull the agents and do QAs on most recent estimates, see what's happening. We're already pulling logs on a weekly basis as well to keep up with objections, and the agents are essentially being trained on those objections on a weekly basis too. So they're going through objection spiels, role playing, QAs. So we keep our agents on their toes all the way through.
Yeah, and I think one more thing to add to that, and no one has this, and this is if you're considering a call center for your moving company, this is the deciding factor, and here it is: transparency. And let me explain. OnCue, you could not listen to your customers' calls. They would call your people. The only way you heard a complaint was if you looked at the estimate and something was wrong, or the customer somehow got a hold of you and told you something happened. Okay? The other call centers out there, you can't listen to your calls. You might be able to request them and then they'll send them to you, but that's awkward. Like, you're not constantly going to be listening. MoveitPro, the second our rep gets off the call is already in MoveitPro under that account data for that customer, and you can listen to it immediately.
Yep.
Okay? If we've done 87 phone calls with Joe Smith and you go to his account, you're going to see all 87 completely time logged, exactly what time it was, how the call dispositioned, whether it's booked or not, and you can scrub the calls, you can listen to the calls, you can download the calls. No one else has that. Do you know why? They don't want you to have it. They don't want you to be able to spot check them. They don't want you to be able to listen to them because they're not doing you a good service. They're trying to make as much money as they can. They don't, I'm not saying all of them do, but a lot of them, I don't think they care about the moving industry. They're here to make money. They're here to make money. Don't get me wrong. I'm here to run a company, and obviously I have employees to support. We have customers to support. We have to make money to stay in business, but I care deeply about the moving industry. I was the kid at, 6 months old, when I took my first steps at the moving company. I was the kid at 5, 6 years old going up and down the aisles at JJ Metro on a 4-wheel dolly. So, that's the reality and the difference, and none of them have that. They're call centers that were started because they saw that they could make money off of the movers. They were call centers that were started because they, had opened a moving company 10 years before, and then they thought did a good job. And so how can we pay for our own sales team by offering it to other customers? It's just a different situation, and none of which are terrible, but that's the differences you're going to get. This is my thing for you. If you're with a call center, tell them you want your calls recorded and you want to be able to hear them at any time. Make them do it. We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in development to do that, to be transparent with our customers. And that's just a fact. That's the reality of it. And we're the only one that does it. And I don't understand why. I'd start asking why.
Yep.
So let's kind of go, we got integration to companies' current, I think you kind of touched on that. Yep. Integration to companies' current branding and scripts. So scripts, obviously fully customizable. Our scripts, they're like multi-tier. So like we have a script for our greeting. We have a script for when we're about to give them the quote. We have a script for like the price. We have a script on how you want us to present, hey, that's going to be, 1 truck and 3 guys. There's a 1-hour travel time, which is 30 minutes to get the guys to you, 30 minutes, whatever that you want us to say, that's going to be in the script that our reps are going to say. We have a FAQ section.
Yep. And then in that, we have selling points. So if we, for instance, we try to go ahead and close a customer and he's right on the line, we try to have selling points for each company that are customized to your selling points. And those should be things like that make your company stand out from
been in business
companies
since 1968. Yep. That was one of our big ones with J&J Metro. We're family owned and operated. All of our guys are, drug tested and wear uniforms. We don't use day laborers. We're full time. So
veteran approved or
correct.
Veteran run and all that. Or even ones like where I have some companies that leave stuff into the dressers, and that's their standout thing is they'll move stuff.
So the people don't have to pack the stuff in the dresser. Yeah. So which is good. So that's awesome. So how does the commission work? So you want to talk about, obviously we've touched on it a little bit. Why don't we talk about actually give an example. If we're working on a move, we've reached out to them, 10 times and then customer calls back and we book it or whatever the situation is.
Absolutely. So the way commission works, if it's on the commission-based plan, is we get a percentage of the job and cost based as long as we actually help book the move. So this means that if we're leaving voicemails for prospecting, we're estimating, we actually go through a full estimate, anything that helps book the move. If the caller calls back and books the move, it would be commissionable. On the other end, though, the amount of leads that we've called and we leave voicemails and they don't end up booking, we don't charge anything.
Correct.
So that's specifically huge with companies that have large lead sources, and there are a lot of leads, big companies.
Yeah, so like if you're getting movers.com leads or Equate Media leads, and we're calling hundreds and hundreds of leads, and not because we can't close them, but just the reality, people aren't picking up the phone, or they've already been called by the 8 other moving companies, or whatever the situation is, you're not charged a penny for those,
Right?
Unless they actually make you money. And that's what I think people are most excited about, is that they don't have to pay us unless they're making money. If they're making money, you know, you got the money to pay the sales team. I wish our employees worked that way.
You also got to add that, and you also got to add the amount of time that the agents are on the phone. And if you actually think it over amount of calls that they're making and how much it costs to actually have a sales team to go ahead and do the same job.
And the training. And I mean, and we've dealt with it. How many times, everyone watching this, you've probably dealt with this, but how many times have you hired someone and you think they're going to be so good, and you spend, you know, a week, it could be a day, could be a week, could be 2 weeks, could be a month, training them, teaching them how you do everything in your company, doing everything, and then all of a sudden,
Gone.
they quit or they're gone. And it happens to us too, but we have such a large team that it doesn't affect us. You know, we're constantly hiring. And these people, because they're booking so good and we give them so much guidance and we help them, they're making good money that you're not going to get the turnover that you're getting with these other ones. But the whole point with that is that we take on that cost.
We're doing the burden.
We're dealing with the burden.
Everything.
And so when someone leaves our company, like, you don't even know. Like, if you want to know, we can tell you. We don't have a problem with that. We're not hiding that. But in the sense of, you don't even know, because your calls continue to get answered in the professional manner that they're supposed to. Everything's already done. The new employees already hired. We're up training them so that they're ready to also start answering your calls. Like, there's no thought process that you have to deal with. Like, oh, I need to make sure that rep's going to be good. And oh crap, I got to make sure they know about this, and whatever the situation is. And I think that's a big part of the benefits of running using the call center in your moving company. So, yeah. So, let's see. What makes Lionsden unique, which I think that
we kind of
went over a lot of
training, the transparency. I also think communication is another big one, which if we look at terms OnCue, like if your company is, for instance, having issues, there's never been, I'll have meetings with my call center companies on a weekly basis until we get it corrected. So the fact is, we care about our customers.
Why don't you talk about that, which is, I think, a huge one. It happens often. A moving company will be a customer with us, and they'll try out a new lead provider. And Michael is amazing at seeing when a lead provider is not working out. And he will call that owner, get on their schedule, and go, I'll let you talk about it, but
absolutely,
and get with them and be like, look, here's what I'm seeing with this lead provider with, your company, along with, I think I see it in some other companies. I'm going to be honest with you. I think we need to cut this one. Now, here's the thing. He would make more if he just says, no, we're going to keep calling them, because he don't care. We keep calling them. You just keep paying us. But he doesn't do that, because he knows that if you're paying for 100 leads and you're only converting 2 of them, you're losing money as a customer of the call center, and we don't want that for you. So go ahead.
Absolutely. So our goal is my goal is to grow your company with you all the way through. So when we first start, I'm going to tell you the lead sources that we are going to integrate with. Really, we integrate almost with all of them.
I mean, it's tons and tons.
It's besides Yelp and Thumbtack, but even those, if you send them over to us, our call center agents will enter.
We'll manually enter them for you.
We'll work them.
Correct.
No problem at all. My agents are very hungry. However, so what I do, if we have an issue with a call center company that's actually just having an issue with some lead sources or It could be anything.
Could be pricing. Could be they're priced out of their market, but they don't even realize it. They do a price increase and they want us to work on, just keep selling. And we realize that we went from booking 20 moves a week to 4 because they only changed their pricing. Michael's going to reach out to him and be like, hey, this is what's happened. And based on our research in the market, we think you don't want to hear it. And I understand you don't want to hear it, but you're priced too high. And we got to figure that out. The other thing, which is amazing, is there's ones the owner and says, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think we can price up. You're priced too low. In your market, you're priced too low. And that owner doesn't even know it. But we as the sales team are telling them and showing them that guidance so that way we can help them be more profitable. Absolutely.
So first and foremost, we have an issue. I'll pull the reports. I like to do lead audits on those companies that are having any issues. So that's what that is we'll pull a report for the month or however many months they've been having the issues. So let's say if we were looking at July to August, I pull all estimates that we've done and completed on that period of time. And we actually drill down and look at each estimate and we see what the actual objection was, what happened, and why we didn't book it.
And we can even listen to the call.
And we can listen to the calls and everything.
Yeah.
What this will do is essentially I'll have a sit down with the company owner and we'll go through it one by one and we'll actually see. If there's a big trend, it's going to scream because it's going to be all over the audit. It's going to say, okay, well, if we're getting a bunch of price objections, then I have to look at price. If we're getting a bunch of, I'm looking at other companies, and we need to look at why they're looking at other
Might be
companies.
that they have a bunch of bad reviews recently, or their website doesn't, show the image that we're trying to present that you're a high quality company, right? So there could be these other things, and we're going to help you find those, isolate them, fix the problem because we want you to be, profitable. And in this economy, I think all of us have to be a little more on top of our game. The interest rates are coming down, which is awesome. And I think that the moving company owners, I think everyone's going to get slammed as soon as they, I'm hopeful they're going to hit just under 5%. I think that's the magic number. Obviously, we'd all like to see 2.7%, 2.9% again. I would. I love buying real estate. I don't think it's realistic. I think that things are really going to open up the market for moving companies right when we hit that 4.9%. I think that, in my opinion, a lot of real estate agents, a lot of real estate moguls also agree, but that's the magic number that we think that's going to switch. We did just hit in the 5s, which we were up in the 7s. So you got to remember, we are coming down. I think Kamala, who's probably now running the office, I don't know, is probably going to push to get the rates dropped before election time because we want to be able to boast that this administration is the one that reduced the rates. If they don't do it and they don't stay there, then I think the next president will. So I do think we're hopefully at the end of this tunnel. I do see that this winter could still be a rough season. I don't know because obviously elections are not till November. New president doesn't take over till January. A lot of people are waiting to see what's going to happen on that. A lot of people are waiting, and I'll be honest, on a political side, I don't have a lot of confidence in what's going on in DC right now. And that affects us, and it affects the housing market. It affects the movers. It affects everyone in our industry. And unfortunately, we have no control over that. All we can do is get up every day, bust our ass, hire the best people we can, and do everything we can to hustle our business and our company. And that's what we're doing every day. So I think that's all we got today. We were on for about an hour or so. We appreciate everyone being on here. I think at one time we hit quite a bit of watch people on. We appreciate everyone's business. We got some more customers to get set up in Lion's Den upstairs, and we're going to keep hustling. So anyways, if you want to sign up for Lion's Den, if you want to just talk to Michael, if you want to talk to one of our reps, if you just have questions, like our website for Lion's Den is lionsdensales.com. Don't go to lionsden.com. You'll be surprised what you find. It's an adult website. You don't want to go there. Lion's Den, don't go there. But lionsdensales.com. Don't forget the sales, man. I'm warning you. lionsdensales.com. You can fill out the form on there. You can call the 888 number. We'd be happy to talk to you. See if it makes sense for you. If you need software, our website obviously is MoveitPro.com. That's MoveitPro.com, MoveitPro.com. Our reps are willing and able to do as much as you need to get you set up. Our goal is to help you grow. Our goal is to help you continually be successful and to make the moving industry profitable again for everybody. We certainly have seen the results of what we're doing and our efforts change in so many moving companies over the last 6 months. There was a lot of moving companies losing money like crazy less than 6 months ago, and we're helping them, and we're seeing them come out of it. So again, MoveitPro, that's 866-435-8865, 866-435-8865. You can get to Lion's Den also there. If you call there and you ask them to transfer you to Lion's Den, they'll send you up. We will see you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and get notified each time a new one comes out. We'll see you next time.